Good afternoon slash evening, everybody. Welcome to Common Sense News and Entertainment, the first day of its existence, Stephen. Our podcast here, our podcast has been on number, 81 or 82 now, with
Mhm.
Selena Rifkin, awesome author
Yeah,
and
this is number 81.
Connecticut intellectual here. And I'm, of course, Jason Douglas. And we're here to talk about lots of different things this afternoon and this evening going on in Connecticut and around the country. So why
Woohoo.
don't you start us off with your thing?
Oh, yes. For those who do not know, Representative Anna Paulina Luna has been she's been great, and I'm gonna be blunt. I cannot remember exactly which state she's in. I should look this up. And maybe when Jason starts talking, I'll take a minute and look that up. But either way, she's been fantastic and really, I would say a true warrior for the right. And one of the things she's been trying to do is get, so Congress has this delightful little slush fund that they pull money out of to pay out on sexual harassment claims that that representatives and senators are accused of. So there is this fund, and it's been utilized a fair bit. And so she said we should know who pulled out money from that fund. And she put this to the House vote, and it was overwhelmingly voted down. They voted to quote unquote table it. So it's like, it's there. They don't get rid of it, but they're like, no, we don't want to vote on that. So they don't want to vote. Nobody wants to vote on
Kick the
that.
can.
Yeah. So all five of Connecticut's representatives voted to table it. They didn't want anything to do with it. So my question is, what are they hiding? It's that simple.
That's simple.
If you cannot put things in the open, you're trying to hide something.
Right. Hello, Bacchus Hospital.
Well, there's all sorts of things like that. I mean, let's start with voter rolls,
Hmm.
which I'm going to kind of tag team onto, hiding stuff. Connecticut, and it's gone through the legislature. It's just sitting on the governor's desk right now. They want to limit how you do FOIA requests and who can do FOIA requests for the voter rolls. And that's already gone through the legislature. Yes, I stepped up and commented on it. The problem with commenting on anything right now is they are jamming as much through the legislature as they possibly can.
Yeah, to muck up the
And
water.
they do it, they put it, and you typically in Connecticut, and I do not comment this as in other states, but they'll put stuff through in both the House and the Senate. So if you manage to comment on one bill, there's actually another one that's waiting. And they just
Mhm.
did this with HB 504, I think it's 504422. It's either 44 or 22. But anyway, this is about vaccine mandates. They really want to make sure that everybody's getting injected.
Yeah, I know. I'm not getting injected. I can tell you that.
No, I'm not either.
It's not
No,
going to happen. I can
no.
tell you another thing is honestly the way I've been now. I know that others in our movement follow it very closely. I've been paying close attention,
Mhm.
and I believe this Wednesday there's going to be a rally at the Capitol about
Yeah, there's going to be a,
bills, about
yeah,
5504, I believe it is.
yeah,
But
yeah.
the bottom line is, look at the big picture again. Is that the Connecticut General Assembly right now is behaving as if it's almost as if the KGB from Russia
Uh-huh.
had come along and replaced these people in the seats of the General Assembly with the kind of crap they're trying to put through. I'm not even kidding. I mean, they're putting through back that
Jason, I
man.
don't think that's an exaggeration at
It's
all.
not an exaggeration. It's an
I don't think it's
absolute ignoramus in terms of our rights, our Bill of Rights. Obviously, with I believe one of the bills that's being put forth there, protesting Wednesday involves the Second Amendment and our ability to obtain,
and I
protect
haven't
ourselves.
even heard anything about that. Do you know anything about that?
No, I like to.
I've
No,
heard
I want to know more
whispers.
about it.
It's HB 044 is
Okay.
the vaccine one. HB 044 is
There's
the
another one called 5504, I think,
okay.
to do with our ability to purchase weapons. James Mayer would tell we got to have James Mayer on as a guest. I think
Yeah, that'd be
he could
good.
tell us a lot more about that.
Hmm.
But the bottom line is they are acting as a rogue legislature and enacting laws with no regard, zero regard for their constituency, us, we the
No,
people,
no.
and they're doing it under the radar from a media that's high. There's no media covering it at this level.
No. No.
They
You know,
cover
assuming the media could keep up at the pace they're going.
they keep right, and they could, they don't. They could come up. They come to the rallies sometimes. Channel 8 will sometimes show up at a rally, but then they paint it as if we're just a small bunch of rogue, you know, whack jobs essentially.
Yep.
They don't paint us in a good light. I know of that firsthand from when I ran against Ben Proto. So
Yeah.
Channel 8 didn't cover it, but they made me look like I was just some wacky, angry guy coming out of nowhere, and you
Hmm.
know,
Right.
uh,
And this is from the left. It's like you think they wouldn't care about who's running the Republican Party. And the fact that they seem to care makes you
media
wonder.
is a big problem. If we had an educated public, a really media fairly educated constituency here in Connecticut, I believe in the next election, at least three-quarters of the people sitting in seats in the General Assembly would be gone.
Well, we have to have people running first. But
We
this
have to
kind
have
of
people
leads
running first.
into my experience yesterday because I went to fill up my gas tank and I was at the gas pump and I go to BJ's. Sometimes the pumps are, when you start to run the pump and it just shuts off on you. So then you have to fiddle with it and go slow. You have to pump the gas
Right.
slowly. And so the lady next to me was really ticked off about this. And for the record, she had all white hair, kind
A
of
little too.
cut.
You're holding up her day.
They were holding up
Your
her day.
slow gas.
So
Yeah.
I started filling, and she stomps over to the booth there to complain. Then she stomped back, and she muttered something about. And I was looking at her sympathetically. I'm like, yeah, it's like this. What are you gonna do? And it's like this might be the price that I'm paying for paying the least amount I possibly can for gasoline. I have no problem with this. It's like I have time. I will pay in time.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently that was not adequate for her. So she stomps over there. I made sympathetic noises at her and she stomps back and then starts, this is all Trump's fault. And I'm like,
Yeah, she said that out loud like that.
not exactly in those words, but it's like, oh, I paid 30 cents more a gallon because of Trump. And I'm like,
Oh
what?
no,
She did say that.
really?
And I was like, okay. All right. Well, yeah, okay. So we knew some of this was gonna happen. All right. And so I like kind of leaned over after I'd finished filling my gas tank because of course I didn't stop to complain, so I got done before she did. Haha. Anyway, so I leaned over and I said, "So, do you have any opinion about what the Connecticut legislature has to do with this?" And she was like, "But Trump and Iran." I'm like, "Oh boy."
TDS alert.
Yeah, yeah, TDS alert. And I'm like, wow, you are so
Wow.
uninformed
You
about.
ever come to a? You ever go like driving down the road and someone comes along and blows like you're just driving on a two regular one lane road, la, 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 and you're maybe even going five. I usually drive around the speed limit a little over maybe, and then next thing you know, this guy's coming behind me and he's like he has to pass by, zoom,
Really
blows
important,
by me at a really high rate of speed, like it's just,
super
and then
important.
you're like, oh, so well, guns his engine and he's going by you, right? And then about 5 minutes later, you come to a red light and he's sitting right there at the red light with you. It's like, dude, a lot of good that did you, huh? Here I
Yeah,
am, right next to you again anyway.
yeah, yeah. I
Same
have.
thing. It's exactly what we were talking about. You still beat her at the gas pump despite the rush to everything. Now, listen, I admit I'm a Type A guy too. I'm all when I'm. It's funny because when I'm home,
Mhm.
I'm relaxed. I have all the time in the world. Even when I'm at a stop, or like I'm inside a store, or I'm at a you know
Mhm.
any place that I'm going to be at for more than 10 minutes, maybe I'm relaxed as can be. But when I'm in transit in the car, I am Type A. I really want to get to where I'm going. I don't want to. I just don't want. I don't like inefficiencies. Sometimes I get a little rambunctious with it, but not never really in front of people though. It's usually just keep to myself. But I'll be
Well,
like,
this
get out of
woman
my way. And I go, oh, hey, how you
woman
doing?
was I she was just I suspect that she was already wound up from having watched CNN or something this morning.
Maybe. Yeah. Well,
Oh
CNN will wind
yeah.
you up, that's for sure.
Yeah. So yeah, so I've been following, as close as you can to, what's been going on in Iran. And I have to
Oh,
say I
yes.
am
Good point.
really happy with this new policy of the United States Department of War not telling the media what they're doing, because I don't know if you saw the the press conference with Pete Hegseth,
I
and
did
the
some of it.
AG is like, well, what are we going to do X, Y, and Z, and what are you going to do about? And he's like, we're not going to talk about that.
Yeah, right. We're not going to tell the enemy what we're doing on TV
Right. But it goes deeper than that because it used
or
to
the
just
media,
be
because the
like,
media
we're
is the
not,
enemy too.
yeah, they are.
Yeah,
They
they
are.
are. They behave
And
like it. Some
it's
of it,
not
a lot of
just
it.
that, it's that the Department of War has stopped engaging with a ton of think tanks that are all about how you should conduct a war in a proper fashion. And so they're just doing it to get the job done now.
Yeah,
And apparently in Tel Aviv they've turned off the you need to stay in your basement warning. And so they're like, no, we're okay with this. The people of
things are starting to
Iran
fit. Those missiles are starting to slow down a little bit finally and stuff.
they're extremely targeted.
Yeah,
I've been looking at some posts from people from Iran. They are not freaked out. They are getting texts from Israel because Israel will be happy to send you a freaking text and tell you to stay in your house because we're going to be dropping bombs over there and
right,
they want you to die because they value human life quite a lot. And so they're like, no, we're just staying in our houses. We're not congregating so that our regime can't use us as a shield. And they're like, for them, every single, and I've read a bunch of these posts, is like, for them, it's not worth it that to them to remain alive in the existing regime. And how bad does it have to be before you decide you'd rather die than live with the existing structure?
right.
So
Tells you something.
these people they're not freaking kidding at this
What?
point.
What? But you know what's funny that as we're taking down this terrible regime in Iran, we have the same mentality growing in our own country, in places like Dearborn, Michigan.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, if you people don't know what's going on in Dearborn, Michigan right now, my understanding is there are not many regular American loving people left in that town. And a lot of them have been run out. And the ones that are there, my understanding, get this, there are hardly any dogs left in Dearborn, Michigan
Mhm.
right now because they're
That's
all
that's
being
accurate.
killed.
That's
They're being
accurate.
almost to the point of systematically.
Hmm.
Dearborn, Michigan is now, while we're like I said, we're replacing a regime in Iran with hopefully a democracy in Iran. We now have democracy falling apart in our own town, and I say that lightly because we also have a very strong growing Muslim population influence in our own state in
Yes.
New London County right now
They're also in Waterbury.
and Waterbury.
Yeah, there is and you're
A
gonna
lot of
love
places
this.
around the country.
There's a Muslim school in Waterbury that I drive by when we go to the gun store. It's like in the same complex.
I'm glad you mentioned that because I saw a clip the other day at a Muslim school in Dearborn, Michigan,
Hmm.
where the teacher is teaching children to hate America
Yeah,
and teaching jihad to children,
I've seen
our
a clip from
children.
Pennsylvania. I've seen a clip from Pennsylvania about that. So it's like it's all over. It's all.
So here's a man, and communism, okay, and Islam, both bad things.
Mhm.
Shift gears just a little bit. Crockett just lost a runoff in Texas.
Yeah, she did.
Yes, she did. We're all happy about
Bradshaw
that.
and
The
Al.
guy that beat her, though, the
Mhm.
guy that beat her is a hardcore communist.
Shock.
And his views are so anti-family and so anti-nuclear family. They're meant to break up everybody, put everybody in apartment buildings, no more home ownership, extremely Soviet, bad, terrible things. Now, here's my point. Back in the days of the Vietnam War, if there was combat going on in the jungle, and individual communists were coming out with guns and shooting at us, and we were shooting them back. These guys were fighting for the communist cause in North Vietnam, right?
Mhm.
And each one of those soldiers potentially could do a lot of damage. That's why we were shooting at them, right? Now, I'm not advocating shooting at anybody, don't get me wrong. But we have a man behind a microphone and a podium who just beat Crockett, who is
Mhm.
a communist just as much as those soldiers were. And this man is much more dangerous because he's influencing our families and our people, our lesser minded voters. And he's influencing, he could become a senator potentially. I don't think he will. I don't think he's going to win.
One would hope not. They
Well,
did.
rape
Well, the
elections
other
worry
the other
me.
thing they did in Texas was that um there was a voter initiative, and I think that means it's going to be on the ballot. in September, in November, on whether or not they voted on whether or not put to have the voter thing on the ballot. And it was about whether or not we should allow Sharia law in Texas. It was because this is a statewide thing. We don't have that option in Connecticut. We don't have the option of a citizen ballot in
I'm
Connecticut.
listening. I gotta get my cat in the window, but keep talking.
Okay. So that's, I want to, Jason, since we're talking about the communists too, and that overlap, I've got two things I want to talk about. And the
Okay.
first is the distinction between, and honestly, there's two different branches of Islam. And there's the Sunni, which is pretty much what you see in Saudi Arabia and other places. And then there's the Sharia, there's the Shia, which
Yep.
is what took over Iran.
Mhm.
They're the ones that are more likely to be violent. And this is something that is a little new for me as a concept.
Mhm.
But it sort of fits with the human nature stuff that I've been reading about. And that apparently the Shia branch is much less flexible, and much more angry and resentful because of, and I'm not going to go into the theology behind this because it has to do with why the men wear baggy pants, and don't get me started. Um, it's like you don't want to know. But it's much more aggressive. And I don't know how people in Islam make moral justifications for what the prophet did in 700 AD,
Mhm.
because a lot of that stuff is just unacceptable to Western values. Sorry, you don't marry 9-year-olds, which is now
Yeah.
completely legal. It was legal in Iran, and
Yeah.
we were taking care of that. They just
Legal in
made
Sharia
it
law.
legal in Afghanistan.
Legal in Sharia law. Sexual slavery of children is legal in Sharia law.
Yes.
Yep.
And it's like,
Pedophilia,
or
in other words.
pregnant
In other words,
children, pregnant
pedophilia is
10-year-olds.
legal. Yeah. In
Yeah,
other words.
pregnant 10-year-olds. Yeah.
Yep.
Um,
And like you mentioned before, treating women like dogs. Women
yes.
have the same rights as dogs.
Yes. Yes. Much the same.
Yep.
And
Yep.
it's just
That's,
that they can't breed with dogs.
but
That's
here's the thing: no matter which sect you're in,
Mhm.
the Quran basically, if you read the Quran for what it says, in order to create your heaven, we want here as Christians aspire to go to heaven. In order to have heaven in Islam or have a world of that's pleasing to Allah, then it must be the world. And so you have to do away with Western civilization in order to have that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
That
that
is,
goes for both all the different sects. Now, some are more aggressive than others about it, but
yeah.
that's ultimately the goal.
That's why they're here. They want to establish a caliphate. And so I'm gonna walk the viewers through how they do this. They come in,
Okay.
like they'll have a few families come in, however they get it, whether it's legal immigration
Yeah.
or in the case of, say, Joe Biden, it's like, here, let's bring a bunch of Afghanis in. Woohoo.
Yeah.
Or Obama bringing in the Somalis. It's like, let's just
Yeah.
bring them in here. And so they're peaceful for a while, they're pretty good neighbors, and sometimes they look like really great neighbors because they will often go into um, poor, like wrecked neighborhoods, buy
Yeah.
houses super cheap because they also don't believe in doing loans. So they buy
Mm-hmm.
a bunch of houses super cheap. They
Yeah.
have all of the labor. They will fix them up. And then the
Yeah.
neighbors who have stayed have been like, oh my God, the crime is going down. They're fixing up.
Aren't they great? Yeah.
Isn't this wonderful?
Yeah.
So the thing is that
Gary.
the men they're not, because in Islam, they're allowed to have more than one wife. And
Mm-hmm.
so by religion, they will have more than one wife that they're all like breeding with. And
Mm-hmm.
then the women, because in this country, if you're not married, you get to have benefits. And,
Mm-hmm.
especially recently, they haven't been real particular. And it's like there really isn't any law at this point
So,
that you can't get
so
benefits.
there's single women here collecting benefits, but they're really
All kinds of
religiously married to
benefits,
these men.
housing, SNAP,
Oh, God.
whatever else they can get. And so these men are like, they're studying the Quran. They don't have to work because their wives are basically supporting them with all of the child benefits. Because the more children you have, the more bennies you get.
Yeah.
I mean, this isn't anything new. That this isn't
This is
anything
really bad.
to a lot of people, but it's so that this is the process, and then they have lots of kids, and then they start running for office in small towns, which is what they do.
Join PTAs and Board of
Joining
Education,
PTAs and
councils,
boards of education, stuff like
RTCs,
that.
Democratic
Or
committees, yeah, all kinds
yes,
of, yep,
yes, because
yep.
there is an actual Muslim woman. is it in South Carolina? There was one that was running, and I can't. There was an avowed communist that actually got primaried. That was kind of cool. But there's still an avowed communist running on a Republican ticket, and I think it's North Carolina.
Oh,
She does. She has the veil on and everything. I'm like, oh boy. So, so this is something to be aware of. And while we have a small population, the thing that scares me about Connecticut is like, do any of these people work on the damn sub base?
probably. What do you mean? I would say yes. I don't even have to look up a book to tell you
Yeah.
that.
I mean, that's
We're the largest employer in the county, and it's got to be.
yeah,
We got a real problem on our hands.
yeah.
Look, I'm not. I think we have to classify. I know you made a comment that Islam is not really a religion.
Hmm.
How can we
Need to redefine
codify
religion.
that?
Yeah.
Can we codify that in a way like it's a cult?
I would call it a political ideology. I heard somebody else call it a theocracy, but that's kind of like,
How can we create a legal justification for banning this?
yeah.
Because if we don't, we're going to be run over by it,
Well, I think
or we're going to
calling
end up.
it
If
political
we're, I don't think. I
ideology
don't.
is fine.
Ultimately, I don't think the United States will ever fall to Muslims ever.
I don't think so either. We've got a long
But
history of saying I don't think
we could
so.
have 100 million of us die trying to stop it, and
And
that's what we don't
that is the
want.
thing. Yeah, that's it.
Right. That's
That's
what we don't want. So there must be some kind of legal justification. And this gets back to what we talked about before. I'm going to start bringing this up more and more. We need more lawyers with balls.
yes. Yes, we do.
We have no lawyers with balls in Connecticut. And I have, like I said, I have 173 of them, cell phones of them out here right on my cell phone for my
Mhm.
job. And
Right.
I'm calling all of them out.
Okay.
There are not all of them. There are two or three of them I think that have sort of
They
balls.
can't all be bad. They
Yeah,
can't.
they're not all bad.
Right.
When I say you don't have balls, I just mean they're not. I think a lot of them have their hearts in the right place. There are some bad ones, by the way. Ooh.
Oh yeah. Oh
Oh,
yeah.
I can't even talk about it.
Mhm.
But most of them that are on my thing are decent people. And a lot of them are on the right too. They're on the right side of things.
But they aren't standing up. And I remember,
Just don't want to stand up. They don't want to risk any of their own crap. Bottom line.
yeah,
But we're gonna have to
yeah.
because this our country's been infiltrated.
Like do it now or do it later.
Look at you go. You know what? Go spend a weekend in Dearborn, Michigan.
Mm,
If you don't know.
yeah.
There's another branch of the Muslims called the Kurds.
Oh yeah, yeah. Let's
The
talk.
Kurds back in Iraq. Those of you who were around for the Iraq situation, 2003, will remember the Kurds were a separate sect of Muslims that lived in northern Iraq, and they're actually more moderate than either of the other two. There probably are moderate sects of Islam that
Yeah.
don't
There
want to
are
destroy the rest of the
policies.
world.
People change.
And we're okay with those people, but
Right.
I just don't think there's. It's unfortunately it's not the predominance in the religion though, like around the world, like it's not the predominant.
Mm.
The people that the Kurds, I think, represent a little bit more of a moderate Muslim sect, and I think that there are good, decent Islamic moderates, but they're way outnumbered. That's the thing by Shia and Shia, and what's the other one?
That-
Sunni and Shia. Those now, yeah, one's more radical than the other, but both of them there's got to be some legal justification where we can start to say, look, you can pray all you want, but
Well, I think a lot of
we
what we're
can't
doing.
allow kids to be. You can't allow Muslim schools in the United States.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's. I think
Ban them.
yeah.
If you
And,
want to teach the
and
kid at home, go
if
ahead. You want to
I think
homeschool it,
if
go
we
ahead.
start, Jason, I think if we start with making it illegal for anybody who isn't a citizen, and if you're gonna move here, you don't get to just be, it's like, so any kind of benefit, tax supported benefits have to be for citizens only and have to be, and any kind of disability,
Voting, of
especially
course.
who had, were productive, who paid into the
Yeah,
system. If we can limit that,
in the pocketbook.
help. It's going to help
I'll
a lot.
start. And what
That's
about a lot of these you've read obviously been reading up on this stuff. So
mm,
the ones that are joining these like town councils and be running for these local offices, are these Muslims coming to the country? Are they on paths to citizenship? Are they becoming citizens? Or are they
That is
just
a
are
good
they
question.
getting on these councils as non-citizens, even if they came here legally? What's going on there?
I don't, most towns don't necessarily have laws. I know there's no
They don't
law
set that out.
books that say you have to have be American citizen. And
Remember
it's
the
like,
guy?
why would a small town bother to put a law in place? It's like, this isn't something people have thought about.
Yeah, how about the guy that was the
Look and say,
superintendent of
oh, gee,
schools?
the Muslims are coming. We better make a law. It's like, no one thinks like
We
that.
better now. How about the guy that was we heard about in Illinois or some state out Midwest that was became he was a legal alien. He became the superintendent of the
Yeah, oh,
school, the entire town. Remember that guy?
yeah.
Holy, and he had gun charges and everything. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah, that
look, we
happened in
got you know what?
Michigan.
That's what we need. We
Yeah.
need an amendment to the United States Constitution that requires some kind of requirement for holding any kind of local or state office. There has to be some. I don't know how to word it even yet.
Mhm.
There has to be a handle on that.
Like, yeah, you have to be a citizen. Well, I mean, New York, I remember when New York, they literally voted to allow people who were not citizens to vote in New York.
Yeah,
But that was, I believe that was
I got
probably,
struck down since then. I think. I
uh,
hope.
I don't
Well,
think it,
that's what the Save Act is all about.
I don't, yeah, that is what the Save
We
Act.
got to we got to spend a lot more time talking about that. That's being debated now in the Senate, or not right
No,
now,
it's
but
not being
that's
debated.
it's
That's the problem.
well, it's up. It's up in the Senate, and it's not being
Well, it's
debated
sitting there waiting for
in
something to
committee.
happen.
It's sitting in committee.
Well,
And
yeah,
I'm stuck in
so yeah,
committee. I sit and wait for a few congressmen
yeah.
discussing
Well, I gotta say,
whether
Scott
I should be
Steiner has been
allowed to
begging
open
John
it.
Thune, and Senator Mike Lee has been begging John Thune to please put this thing. And of course, the president is like, "Will you please put this thing up for a vote?" And John Thune's like, "Oh, we don't have the time to do that. I don't think we have the time to do that." And yes, I am absolutely mocking you, John Thune.
John Thune needs to be
You
called the
obviously
carpet.
don't give a flying
So
something.
John Thune's corrupt. Thune is a pig.
So yeah. Anyway,
Sorry, he is.
well,
I'm sorry. I liked him. I
now
liked him.
there is talk of replacing him as leader. So we're
Quick,
going to see what happens. And there's also so John
primary him.
was he asked the president to endorse there's two Republican candidates who are running for the Senate in Texas, and one is John Cornyn and one is John Paxson.
Yes, I heard about this.
And Cornyn is a known rhino. He's a known rhino, and Thune wants the president to endorse him.
Of course.
Yeah. So, and Paxson
Trump
said
is saying he does. Trump is
if
weighing
it
his options. I hear Trump is weighing his options.
yes, well, Paxson said that if it will get the SAVE Act to the floor, he will step down, which I think, that says a lot about Ken Paxson.
Good man. Good
Yeah.
man.
And the fact that, they would put up a rhino to run is like, well, that stinks. But the SAVE Act is actually more important right now because without it, we could never get Corin out. And he's not even ours. I mean, Connecticut is like we're still in desperation here in
I
terms of.
think the Save Act is so important. I would pretty much resign my job to see it pass.
Mhm. Yeah,
Really,
yeah, it is that important.
if I could, I would. You know what I mean? I
Yeah,
mean, it is that important.
yeah, it's not.
Without it, I think I'm very worried about this fall. Without it, honestly,
Yeah, yeah, me too. Me
and
too.
and some of these runoff elections and odd year elections that we've seen over the last 6 months have really scared me.
Hmm.
Especially the New Jersey governorship one.
Oh yeah, that was very distressing. Well, Virginia was even worse.
They're
Yeah,
both they're both,
both
in my
bad.
opinion,
They were equally bad. They
they
were.
were both undoubtedly rigged elections.
It,
The Virginia governor, I think she was able to win over a lot of moderate Democrat votes by pretending to be moderate the way she did. She was,
that's what they've been doing is they
whereas the New
pretend
Jersey one was like,
moderate.
hey, she was much more. Yeah, they both did that. They both did
Yeah,
that.
they pretend to be moderate and then they go full on leftist.
And
Full
I hear
on.
stories about at the town halls now when they, where they have you take the vote, you bring it up, and it goes through the machine.
Yep. Oh yeah.
Some of those, it comes out,
Remember, I sat at the polling booths.
and then it doesn't stay in the machine, it comes back out. And then I hear that after you leave, if it's a Democrat, they put it through a couple more times.
No, they stay in the machine. They stay in the
Not
machine.
there's one
Oh,
the one I dab it comes right in and it
okay.
goes in and back out.
Oh, oh, that's great.
Yeah,
That's awesome. That's awesome.
love
Yeah.
it.
the ones where I was in it, as I sat in Ansonia, and those disappear into the machine. And really, all you can do, and we weren't asked to do this, is to see if the number of ballots that went through was the same as the count that was on the slip. And that's really all you can do. They don't have you count it. So speaking of counting votes, I'm going to a workshop. I think it's at the end of the month. It's in a couple of weeks. It's on the 29th, I think. And
Hmm.
I'm going to learn how to hand count votes. I can
All right.
a la Mr. Lindell TV,
Uh-huh.
the pillow guy, the My Pillow guy. So he's been all about hand counting votes, and there's a woman in Connecticut who's working with that. So I'm going to go to that workshop. They're going to record it, and they're going to be sharing it with all of the registrars of voters. It's like, this is how you do it. So here
All
we are.
right.
Okay,
It's
big up
awesome.
people. We're going to learn how to do this. So I'm going to be
We
one of
just got to have
those
towns
people.
implement it, though. Towns have got to implement it.
They do, but it helps if you have, because otherwise they'll go, oh, we don't know. It's like if you have someone who can stand up and say, I can help you do this. We have the information. Here it is. Here's a real human being who's actually knows how to do this. So I'm excited about this, and I'm gonna I if any of you guys want to do this, I'm gonna post Anne Marie's phone number in the podcast links. So hopefully you guys would like to call her and would like to hop into this. They definitely want some more people to be involved. And so it'll be interesting.
It
And
will.
it's going to be in North Haven. Going to be in North Haven.
That's awesome.
Yep.
There are
So
so many things to attend.
there are so many things to attend. And I think there's going to be, because it's going to be a beautiful Sunday, James has decided to wamp up another,
Bridge.
they're going to do a spontaneous event at the Cadillac Ranch in Southington on,
Yep.
on Sunday.
This Sunday at 11, I think, right? They're going to fire up the bridge, get it. Come on
They're fire
down.
up the bridge.
I'll try to be there if I can.
Yep. And it has been said that the state police have been told, and not that we ever had any problems because we don't. And the Southington police know we're doing X, Y, and Z, and they've always been fine. But the state police have been told that you can't mess with the people on the bridges. So that
That you
applies to
can't
us.
mess with the people. You can't mess with the people on the bridges?
Can't mess with people on the bridges. Nope.
Good. Well, you shouldn't be. We have a right to be on the bridges. We
Yeah,
pay for the bridges.
that's right. We do.
Yeah, as long as we don't litter.
We don't litter, and we don't.
We
Yeah,
don't litter.
that would be bad. We don't
We
want
clean
that.
up after ourselves, right?
Well, I think I'm
We
not
leave some of the
sure.
decorations on the bridge, though, right? That's fine, right? As
Yeah, as long as you take them down.
long as you take them down when the time, appropriate time, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, we always do that. We always take them back down
I
again.
know we're going to be doing a little something in front of Bacchus in the spring.
Okay,
It's
cool.
becoming because needs to be called to the carpet a little bit,
Okay.
and so there's a
There,
lot happening
there's
there. And
a lot
getting
of,
back to let me get back to the Kurds real quick for a second,
yeah,
though.
yeah, yeah. You didn't finish that.
Yeah, Kurds, right?
Hmm.
Um, they're the most moderate of the three major sects. I think those obviously Shiite and Sunni are the two majors, but the Kurds the third one, I believe. Or there are several others, but
I'm gonna have to look that up and just see
the,
what the differences are.
the Kurds helped us back. You may those who don't recall, back in Iraq, they were kind of help. They were our allies essentially in the fight to take down Saddam Hussein
They
and
got stuck in
reestablish.
Turkey, didn't they? They basically fled to
They're
Turkey.
they're primarily in Turkey and in northern Iraq
Okay.
and also northern Iran, I believe.
Hmm.
Um, and my understanding is now I'm hearing that we there's a lot of talk about now about a ground game about a ground troops of the American ground troops in Iran.
Uh-huh.
I don't think that's going to happen. Trump has never said it's going to happen. And based on the kind of technology we have these days, AI and everything in the military, we don't need ground troops. However, there are situations where some ground troops, even no matter how much technology we have, when I say we don't need ground troops, I don't mean we don't need massive ground troops. I believe we had 300,000 ground troops in Iraq, if I'm not mistaken.
Mhm.
We don't need that anymore, but there may be the need for some ground troops. And the Kurds are apparently,
They're volunteering. They're like, hey,
well,
can
no,
we
I think
help?
it's more like we're tapping them on the shoulder.
Mhm.
Um, but there's talk that at the end, Iraq, of course, was so much in the news 20 years ago as we were, reshaping nation building, supposedly that country, which is a failure, really. And I'm not even sure what's going on in Iraq anymore. Nobody talks about it, like in terms of who's running that place. Anyway, I don't even know. But the Kurds must have a say in it. But the bottom line is the Kurds are now we're looking at the possibility of as many as 50,000 Kurd troops
Mhm.
trained to go into Iran for any ground forces that might be needed to go in and clean up whatever is left of the old regime, essentially.
Mhm.
Take down whatever guards left.
Right.
I guess I'm not a military expert, but no matter how many machines and bombs and planes and whatever we do with machines, I think at the end of the day, we probably do need a few people to go in there and
Yeah, yeah,
maybe
there's
check
gonna
things out.
be.
And then, you know, another thing I heard is Trump is now demanding to have a say in who the new leader of Iran is. Now, I think the word, I don't know if that's a media twist. I want to see, I saw a headline that said that. I want to see what Trump actually said.
Yeah, yeah, we do
But
need.
that sounds a little bit like, whoa, whoa, whoa.
Mm.
We know you're trying to save the world and we love you, but you really don't have a say in who, like,
I don't know that I wouldn't trust something like that, if only because if he did have an opinion about that,
how about the United States
he
should
either
have,
wouldn't know about it or
right.
he
Yeah,
wanted
I don't think that's,
something. You know, this is like the dude plays chess.
I think it's more like it would be more better said the United States wants to have some say that in that the new
Really
government's
like to
friendly.
have it be, we'd
Yeah,
like to
rather than
have it
Trump
be.
personally wants this guy. You know what I mean? So that's watch out.
And I do know that the Shah's son, I think it's Reza Pahlavi, he has volunteered. They did interview him on 60 Minutes. And he said, I will be very happy to be an interim person to help steer the Iranian people into a democratic system of some kind.
Yeah,
So,
that's yeah. Let's I think
so
there's plenty of
and
people.
the interviewer was like, "You don't want to be king," and he's like, "No,
Oh,
I
there,
want to help. Love my people. I want them to rule themselves." So that's like good.
that's a real George Washington of our time, an Arab version of George Washington. It's a
Mhm.
good thing. I don't want to be king. So, and I think there's plenty of people in Iran, good people in Iran that have
Yeah,
been living under this a long time. Some of them are probably in prison right now.
yeah, yeah.
That remember what it was like before the days of the Shah when they were a little more market friendly and whatnot. And I'm
Mhm.
sure would love to help restore it. And I think that ultimately, I think we'll come together as long
Yeah.
as we destroy, as long as we keep, we can't back off though. I'm
Mhm.
not somebody who likes war or military things for the most part. This is one of those few
Yeah,
instances
it's not.
where
And
we
I
need to keep pounding away and
until they're
end
done.
this
They
regime.
have to be
Yeah,
done.
it
They
has
have
to be done. I would submit this is a more noble cause what we're doing right now
to.
than the war in the Pacific was in World War II.
Mm. Yeah.
Because that was provoked by us. We provoked that.
Mm.
This is something we didn't provoke. This is something that happened. Well, some would argue that Carter's policies in Iran screwed things up.
Well, then there's the whole CIA involvement and stuff, but
Yeah, maybe that's true. And even if
maybe we're
that's
just
true,
making it right now.
right, that makes it even more because some Democrats are using that argument to talk against this war. Oh, we started things with back in the, and I would submit that even if you grant that's true, and even if we twist it your way all you want, Carter was an idiot in '78. The CIA was
Wasn't
corrupt.
it?
Whatever,
Besides
whatever.
that.
It's still a mess, and it still needs to be cleaned up. It's all the more reason if it's us that caused it, then not them. If that's true, which I don't know if that's true, but if it is, then it's all the more reason why we can clean it up in 2026. Is it not?
Well, we seek the who started it thing because we want to feel morally good. But whether or not that actually is going to be the effective thing to get the job done is another
Yeah.
question entirely.
But even if we did start it, it was not a. It wasn't a. We didn't intend on bringing the Ayatollah Khomeini in to run Iran. That wasn't the plan.
Now, well, it might have been somebody's plan. I don't
Even
know.
if it was somebody's plan, it
I
wasn't
don't think it was the CIA's plan, actually.
no,
I
it
don't
wasn't
think
the
it was.
CIA's plan. It was somebody's plan, but it wasn't the CIA's plan. That's what I mean. It wasn't the American plan. So even if it was done as a result of mistakes that we made over there, it was still unintentional, still an error. It was still that doesn't give us put us, it doesn't give the Ayatollah or Iran the moral high ground. Let's put it that
Hell
way.
no.
Hell no,
Yeah.
you know. And
Yeah.
so that brings up another subject that's a little, this is pretty new news today. Have you seen the ads on TV over the last few months this year about the Homeland Security and illegals
Oh, yeah. I
urging
saw
volunteer
whispers.
illegals to leave,
Okay.
urging volunteer, and saying if you don't leave, we will kick you out. You won't get. And then Christine Ohm on a horse, riding on a horseback with a big cowboy hat on. And
I haven't seen any of
you ever
those.
seen those ads? Okay, they've been
No.
out. They've been out. They're on
Okay.
Fox.
All right.
It's very well. It turns out those ads were very expensive.
Okay.
200 million, I guess.
Okay.
and it didn't make Trump too happy.
Okay.
Got into the crosshairs a little bit.
Okay.
Not enough to get her cost her anything. But then I haven't seen the testimony. I'm going to have to go back and watch Christino's testimony
Mhm.
to the Senate. I believe it was the Senate or the House. I'm not sure which one. Today and yesterday.
Mhm.
I think it was today and yesterday. Apparently, that testimony got senators on both sides of the aisle to say, "Whoa," a
Mhm.
little bit. They didn't like the nature of her testimony. That's why I want to see it. And now she was fired today by
Okay.
Donald Trump. And I don't think I didn't see that coming really. It's replaced by Senator Mullins from Oklahoma, who is, you guys, he's a really
Clean one.
reliable guy, former MMA fighter and a fighter in politics too, and a good dude actually,
Mhm.
a real MAGA guy, and actually respected by senators. They don't think there's going to be any problem getting him confirmed
Mhm.
because even today, as divided as senators still stick together on these things for the most part. So I think they have enough to get him confirmed without a problem. Although people like Jeffries and Crockett will probably vote against him, but and so it's
Definitely,
interesting.
they
No one's
don't
going
have
to
a
get a
say.
new
The House doesn't have a say in this. It's only the Senate.
Senate. You're right. The confirmation is the Senate. I'm not sure what her testimony was though today, but the Senate does the confirmation.
I only saw a snippet of her testimony, so I
Well,
don't know what else was there.
no one was not leaving altogether. They're creating a new position for her as some
Mhm.
sort of a Western Hemisphere czar for
Okay.
security or something.
Well, if she spent too much money, that is definitely not okay. But
Not okay. Not okay. And I guess I don't know. I have to look a little more into it, but my theory is that it was a little bit too much about her. Maybe I'm just speculating on that.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
Well,
but I
don't
don't
be
think anybody's.
shy
I don't
about
think.
firing people that aren't doing the job he wants them to do. So if she wasn't, I mean, consider the performance of everybody else in his cabinet. If
Yeah,
somebody's not quite holding up their end,
I think that she. I think that no one's going to take away from her a lot of the progress that's been made. Like I don't think this is. It's not like she was a total bomb. I mean, she's done a
no.
really, really good job. And the policies aren't changing or anything like that. I think the thing in Minnesota might have been one of the things that a little too. I think Holman and her apparently don't get along too well
Yeah,
because
that's a
she's much
problem.
more. She's much more aggressive, and
Mhm.
Holman's a little bit more. The policy is the same, but it's the way you implement the policy
But
that can be interpreted in different ways. And they, believe it or not, a lot of people felt that
that or
home apparently
she's taking,
Waste handle Minnesota was a little too
it might have been, and maybe she's just
maybe.
taking the heat for that. The other thing is we don't freaking know what's going on entirely either. So she may
No,
be,
behind the scenes we don't know, right? Her and Holman have probably had a few shouting matches, probably. They
I'm
seem
sure
like two
there's
tough
been a few
cookies.
batting matches, yeah.
So then, they had to. We all remember they had to bring in Holman to kind of replace the Minnesota operations with her, and I think
Yeah.
that might have been
Now
the
it seems to be
beginning of
going pretty
the
smoothly.
impetus.
So.
Then they looked and saw the money she spent on those ads, and then
Mhm.
I guess that I gotta watch that testimony. I'm curious now.
Mhm.
That I guess everybody was like, huh, a little bit. I don't know. I have to see it.
All right.
It's interesting though. That's the first firing that we've had in the second administration that I know of any major position at all in the cabinet, major or otherwise. I think. Um, so maybe it is what it is. Trump knows what he's doing.
He certainly, yeah. I mean, it the fact that we can't seem to have a conversation with people on the hard left, and it kind of all we can do is keep talking about what we have, what's going on, pull people in. One of the things I noticed, because I'm not on Facebook, so I don't know how much engagement is there. And, the tough part about social media is you can get engagement on social media. Does that mean anything in the real world? And it's still too new for us to know anything about that. I will
It
say
does. It means something. I mean, it does.
it,
Egypt was brought down because of social media in 2011.
yeah, you know what? That's true. That's true. That's true.
So it
I will
has
say that
influence.
all of the people that I've met in the MAGA movement, including you, have been because I've been engaging on X. So this is, so it's not nothing.
It's not
It's
for
like,
me. It
oh, it's
was
just social
excellent.
media. It's not just social media. This is how we are connecting with each other. And we're
Right.
connecting in person, and that matters.
That does matter. That
That
very
is,
much matters. It's funny because my contacts on my phone have gone from like 150 to 450 since I started doing this.
there you go. Yeah, well, that's something.
Scroll,
Okay, yeah, yeah,
now
absolutely.
it's like, whoa, I'm using the A to Z buttons now for the first time. I'm like going through it. I'm like, who are some of these people? I'm like, really sure. A lot of our
Oh,
state
I
committee
have to make
members.
notes and categories. I'm like,
Oh, it's awful.
how do I know this
But
person?
the ones that I've met in person, though,
Uh-huh.
anyone that I've seen face to face,
Mhm.
even if it was only once, and if it
Mhm.
was a formal introduction, and if any kind of conversation at all, I
No
know
problem.
exactly who those people are. And I mean, I know who almost everybody on there is too. I mean, there's only a couple, two, three. I'm like, oh, I don't remember this one. But it matters. Social media matters.
It does.
It matters. But
My
in
engagement has gone
person,
way up. So
I think that social media matters to mobilize, but it takes in person to make things actually happen.
yeah. Yeah, I mean it's useful. It's what it is useful is because people can kind of sneak into the conversation, kind of they can lurk. You can have lurkers who
Yeah.
like, well, I'm really unhappy about what's going on in the administration. So let's see what everybody else is saying about this because it will give people perspective.
Yep. Yep.
And there is, we are groupish humans. Humans are groupish. I'm not going to say herd mentality because we aren't like that because there's a lot of
No.
us who are like, well, wait, nope, just stop,
No.
hang on.
Didn't
I'm not
primitive
jumping
human
in there.
didn't
I'm not jumping in the pool yet.
primitive man hung around in like groups of like what 8 to 12 people, right?
Well, tribes were typically not more than about 120 people. And
Oh, that
that
sounds like
literally,
that
that
sounds
was
like a herd.
yeah, well, yeah, but we didn't all go in the same direction. Here's the thing. Here's what it's like. We want to get into the evolution thing a little bit. And when we evolved, it's like I think I've told you we have both the urge to go and see new things, and we
Yeah.
have the urge to like
Which
stay
is why we did walk on the moon.
and try. Yes, it's why we could walk on the moon,
Why
but
we
we're
did in
also like
1969.
very tribal. And
Yeah.
and the thing that allows groups to survive is if they find specific ways of interacting with each other that work and they have patterns of behavior they can pass on to their children so their children know how to survive in that environment. The problem is our environment has been changing very fast. Also, because if you think about it, you're not going to have in a primitive environment, you're not going to have as many people who are going to be, ooh, what's that over there? Because they're going to die.
Yeah.
They're going to eat the mushroom. They're going to go pet the really big kitty with the sharp teeth. I'm exaggerating a little bit, but this is how I would die. If I were an ancient human, I would want to go pet the big kitty with the sharp teeth, and that would be that. That's how I
Well, you lost me there, but okay.
I'm being a little silly,
I,
but
I know.
I think that because as we have become more prosperous, people who are very open to new experiences have survived more and raised more children. And so I think that may be, and it's just like this is pure speculation. It'd be really fun to run this by an evolutionary biologist and see what they thought.
Hmm.
See if I'm like thinking about this clearly. But it's we have more space for experimentation. But that also means social experimentation, which has been a little messy and has really messed with our group cohesion. So, yeah.
It, well, the ability to communicate with so many people at home creates a electronic
And that's
social connection, but it alienates us in real life, though, because there are a lot of younger people, especially that do not go out like they should.
yeah.
The
Although there's
bars are not.
also a reverse of that now. It's like a lot of younger people are being like,
Yeah.
no,
Wait a minute.
let's get together.
Yeah, they actually want to go to the bar and have a beer with somebody now instead of.
Yeah, yeah, I'm
Yeah.
kind of pleased with that. It's like,
That's
yeah,
what I'm trying to tell my son, kind of. Hey, why don't you go to the
yeah,
bar, man? A
you're
girl. You talk to a
not saying
girl.
a girlfriend yet.
No.
Oh, he's got a, well, it's harder to find a girl these days if you're a conservative.
Well, it's.
So
I'm
hopefully
hearing
that'll
that
get
men are
better.
just not as aggressive anymore and asking girls out. A lot of them are afraid of rejection or afraid of backlash.
Yeah.
Men have been
And then there's
men have been
potentially
mischaracterized. Men have been
the amount of
demonized.
estrogen that we have in our environment, like extra, like literally chemically estrogen. It's in the water.
We know alpha men are demonized by the left over the last 15,
No,
20
there's
years, real
actually,
bad.
yeah. So there's,
And some weaker minded men have been a lot of men, actually not weaker, a lot of men who are already pretty strong men have been affected by that a little bit.
yeah, yeah.
The
It's
the cat call by the construction worker when the girl walks by on the sidewalk, those days are over, man.
yeah. Well, honestly, as one of the people who was getting whistled at, that's very threatening. So I'm kind of glad people are not doing that anymore. If
Really?
yeah,
A lot of girls
really.
like that though.
Yeah, really. I know in your mind. as a good man. This is not, it's like you didn't mean anything by it. It was just something you did. But as a woman, as a small woman, if I'm walking by a
Even
construction,
just one of those, like, I can't even do it anymore. One of those, they'll bother you.
I if I don't see it, it does
There
not
it
going to
is.
bother me. But
Oh, okay.
dog whistles, cat calls, that kind
Oh,
of
hey, baby, blah blah blah. No, yeah, no, that's immature crap doing that. I would, yeah.
well,
I'm talking about
it's
like a.
what I grew up
Do
with.
you remember the old? I can't do it loud anymore. Just go
Yes, I
distance,
do
like, hey,
understand.
that's saying, hey, you're babe. Like, that's kind of okay, right? I mean,
Appreciative. And
appreciative,
that's
yeah.
probably a little borderline. I would say it's probably okay because it's
It's borderline.
appreciative.
And then some girls are flattered by stuff like that. I got here's one for you. You're gonna love this. Get this one.
Non-threateningness in your mind as a you look very cool, but I'm really a safe guy. If you like have that in your mind clearly, I think
I
that
get that. I get that point of view.
yeah.
But here's another one. Back in middle school,
Hmm.
when I was in middle school, sexual assault would now be considered sexual assault in the fourth degree was a pastime at our school.
Butt pinching,
You could the way
talking
and
about butt
I'm
pinching.
gonna make the argument that it's okay and this is the way it should be. And it was just like we are animals at the end of the day, and
Mhm.
the way we figure out a girl guy whether we have this like unsort of set like you get that chemistry right with you, and the way that you would figure out whether a girl liked you or not is you'd walk up to her and you'd grab her ass in the hallway. You go up and you just put not you just put some guys were more aggressive and
Okay.
they'd grab, others would just put their hand there, and
You know what?
that was the way of
I'm
saying,
gonna
hey
argue with
honey,
you about this.
what's
I'm gonna
that?
argue with you about this because that is the standard in Islamic culture. If you are a woman and you're on a busload, every guy in that car is going to be trying to grab ass and grab
We're
titties.
not talking about Islam here.
I know, but this is
But
how is it different, Jason?
it's different in
And
that
I'm like, because you're losing me here.
I know, and I'm not defending it necessarily.
Like you're
I'm playing
losing.
devil's advocate a little bit with you here, okay? But I am going to tell you, indeed, back in a freer time in our country in the '80s, in Bernardsville Middle School, and probably every other freaking middle school in Connecticut around the country, that was just the way that boys tried to figure out if a girl liked them or not.
Mm.
That's it. It was a feeler. Or it might have been around the shoulder, or it might have been try to kiss her on the cheek real quick or something, or offer to carry her books or whatever. There's a lot of different ways. And I'll admit, putting your hand on a girl's butt is probably one of the more
That's a little invasive.
lesser cool ways to do it. But if it happens in such a widespread manner, doesn't that make it kind of natural? And nobody's doing anything more than that. No one's stopping her from walking or getting in
I
her way.
do
Or
know that there's, and
and
here,
before I think there were three reactions you would get.
okay.
And I'm going to tell you, I did it myself a couple times. I admit I was nervous about it.
Oh my God.
I was a boy. The statute of limitations is over. I was just a boy, and I was nervous as hell about it. There were three, but I did it a couple times. And there was this one girl. I'm not going to say even her name at all.
Mhm.
There was one girl that everybody did it to.
Okay.
Everybody, you didn't get to the eighth grade, past seventh grade, unless you did
And she
Joey. I'll call her.
what's her name's butt.
Unless you touched her butt, right? and but the reaction that one would get was one of three things. Either you get a smile, you
Mm-hmm.
would get acceptance,
Right.
and you would probably end up dating. A good chance you'd end up dating that girl.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Leads to marriages and families and babies.
Right.
Two, you get punched upside the head or major rejection.
Okay.
And that is the signal that, okay, she don't like me back. We're done here.
You know what?
Any
Okay.
second now, listen.
Okay. I'm a little more on board with this now.
Any second attempt beyond that hard rejection is absolutely forbidden. Right? No way. You cannot. Now you're, in my opinion, committing a misdemeanor or a crime or whatever.
Okay.
Although you're still a teenager. We're talking about teenagers here, but
Right.
we're not talking about adults here, by the way.
Right.
We're talking about kids now, not adults.
Right.
Not saying any woman at 35 should be subject to some idiot construction worker walking
Okay.
up to her
Okay.
grabbing her
That
ass.
also puts a little limit
That's
on
not what I'm saying. I'm
it.
talking about children,
Mhm.
kids. Okay.
Right.
The third reaction would be, of course, the hem and haw, the middle between the two.
Right.
Cut it out.
Right.
or just like pretend it didn't happen at all.
Right.
That's the third option. So I guess what I'm getting at with this is, um, I don't see a lot of harm in all that, but I get for kids now. Remember now. But anyway, that's my point about it. I don't know how I even got there,
I
how
don't
our
even.
conversation even got there. But it's interesting. But nowadays, I think if you even tried that once in a middle school, I think you pretty much find yourself in the
Oh
principal's
yeah.
office.
Well, they have
I don't care if you're 10 years old or what. When
there's
I was
been
in
a lot of
third,
artificial change of the culture, and
yeah.
it's like from the top down. It's like, oh wait, no, this is offensive
Oh,
to me, so you
I know
can't.
where we got to this. I'm talking about alpha male masculinity, men trying to be with women. Remember the old nursery rhyme, Georgie, Porgy, pudding pie, kissed the girls and made them cry.
Right,
And
right.
they show little videos. George would walk up and just kiss the girls, man. And if they, how do you know if you don't? One, I'll tell you one time before I met Melissa years ago, I was dating for a while, and I was always like when I would be dating. This is an interesting topic. We can talk about more another time, but when I would be, courting a woman or whatever, I would be very nervous about
Hmm.
making any kind of physical move at all. It always just made me very nervous. I was afraid of rejection or whatever,
Hmm.
probably because of the way things were in school for me or whatever. But and it was the same way even as an adult. I was in my 30s. I was dating whatever a little bit for a few couple years there, and I decided there was this one girl that I went on a date with. She's a little bit younger than me. She's probably like 28 or 29 or something like that. And I was, 36 or something like that. And I decided she was really like happy-go-lucky, pretty girl. And I decided, you know what? I hadn't met her yet, right? Person. It was the first time I was meeting her in person, and I decided that the first thing I'd do as I saw her, I was just gonna walk right up to her. As I say, "You look great." I was gonna just do a Georgie Porgy, man. Just do it, Georgie.
Okay.
And I did it, and it worked. We didn't work out in the long run, and we never really dated or anything, but it worked that for that. Just really like that did not hurt at all. Like for that at that moment, like turned out she was younger than she said she was, and
Oh, yeah, that's probably.
yeah, she was immature. I don't like her. I was like, so I let it go. But that night though, that technique worked. And I guess, and that's why we're talking about this because the alpha male is being destroyed,
Yeah, no,
right? And no one's suggesting that women should.
that's not good.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that obviously it's natural for boys to want
We would hope so.
to want to be with girls. And how do you know? Is it all just, oh, can I carry your books, ma'am? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, well,
Alpha male's getting killed, and it needs to come back,
and,
and that's why.
I think, every age has had a different way that it's considered appropriate for males to approach females.
Hmm.
Females want men to approach because we want to know that you've got the stones to do it.
Yeah, and respect the rejection. If you reject
If
it,
we're
respect.
going to be raising the babies, then we need to know that you've got enough spine to get out there and do the
Be a
job.
dad, protect, do the right job, right? Of course. So
I
you
mean,
need that.
we're biologically designed to lay back and say, you come to us, you prove that, and you have to prove that that you're sufficiently interested, and B, that you can do the job. So that's, and then there's the whole ideally, they're not a psychopath because you actually had a good father. Personally, I made very bad choices early on because I didn't recognize what a good man looked like.
Yep, yep,
I
yep.
had no idea. I was clueless.
Well, that's unfortunately a lot of young women have that
That is a major problem now.
major, yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna
And
ask
then
you to
when
talk,
they do see
I'm
the,
gonna ask you to talk for a few minutes because I have to give my cat an asthma treatment.
all right, well, we'll talk about CS while you do that.
Okay, well, you talk for a minute. I'm gonna go get his inhaler.
Okay.
So, yes, my cat has an inhaler.
Oh, gotta take care of the cat. And we can talk about cats when she gets back too. That's the last thing we'll end off with. But at any rate, while Selena is away, we're going to talk about CSNE, Common Sense News and Entertainment, which is a new news network that we just started officially. It's been in the works for a couple of months now, but it is officially today a corporation. Yeah, that's right, called Common Sense News and Entertainment Incorporated. It was born yesterday, actually, and I'm really excited about it. It's going to be a lot of good things happening. We're going to try to cover eventually 24 hours and 7 days a week. Uh, Yesterday, I met a guy. I'm going to give you his last name because they'll never figure out who he is. Gonzalez, a guy named Gonzalez, who's a young aspiring journalist, and he wants to be involved in, starting to film things around Connecticut. Real news. I'll tell you. I'll give you. Apparently, there was a shooting in a neighborhood in Hartford last Friday,
Okay.
and yeah, there was a shooting in a neighborhood last Friday, and it was covered by the media. but the media showed up at the scene and talked to the police officers on the scene and got whatever the police had to say, but didn't talk to any of the family members or any of the people that were involved in the actual, that had people shot in the shooting.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and this guy Gonzalez, who's going to hopefully be one of our journalists, was there, and he tells me that what happened was there was some type of I haven't read everything about it yet, but there was some type of a disturbance, and the police were called.
Mm-hmm.
And when they arrived, they showed up guns ablazing,
Uh-huh.
showed up shooting,
Holy cow.
yelling and shooting. And so the contention is that this was a police aggravated. It was a police shooting that happened. It has been publicized in the news, but apparently, according to this reporter guy,
Mm-hmm.
an independent reporter guy that hopefully will join our network, that the cops just showed up guns ablazing. There was no like police
Okay.
procedure. They showed up to kill, shoot to kill. James Bond,
Wow.
license to kill. That's
Wow.
what he's saying. Now
Interesting.
he was there, and he says he was there. Now, I don't know this person that well,
Mm-hmm.
and I know that, but I do know that the media does show up at scenes and talk to the cops, and they don't. Yeah, they'll talk to a passerby on the street every now and then, but a lot of times the people that were most affected by what happened, they'll if it's convenient for them to, because the story doesn't want they want the story to go a certain way, they'll leave certain people out of the conversation that shouldn't be. Which we all know the media does this as a practice. They leave things out.
Yeah.
And so we want to put things in. We're going to cover Connecticut, local news. So people will see what's really going on. We're going to investigate voter roll fraud, incarceration of political enemies, and all the crap that's going on in Connecticut. And
Good.
people can hardly believe, really. So anyway, a lot of momentum's going. We're getting started. We're officially an entity now.
Cool.
And just stay tuned. Now it takes time. Now it's going to do something like this. Going to take time before we get to the 24/7 and all that. So
Right.
it's just little by little. Eventually, we do some billboard advertising, and
Cool.
but again, can't do billboard advertising until we have something to advertise that's worthy of a billboard,
Nice.
and we're not there yet. So, anything else on your mind?
Nothing. Did you want to talk about cats for a minute?
Yes,
Cats.
we could have teased that in the beginning. We had more people watching. You know why? Because when we get a good number between all the different sites that are around. We do have a pretty good audience, and it's growing. It's great. It's going to get way better too. Just watch because we stand out at the end of the day. But when I post a video of my cat, they blow us away, man. They like 10 times more people, thousands,
Cats rule
hundreds
the
of
internet. Cats rule.
all.
Yeah.
They're loved all over the internet. So I figured out I should get my cat on here. If I could get my cat to hold my cat while we're doing we could really accelerate things. But the reason why I want to bring up cats though is something different. I saw a video on YouTube the other day about a cat expert about the way it was like 10 or 15, the 10 mistakes that
Mhm.
owners make with their cats that upset them that they think they're doing something nice.
Mhm.
And I was happy to know that I passed
Mhm.
9 out of the 10.
Okay.
Like there were, I have such a good relationship with my cats. Like
Mhm.
there was one where she said cats don't like being rubbed on their belly. You
Mhm.
shouldn't rub them on their belly because it's just they don't like it. Some may tolerate it, but they don't really like it, right? So I disagree with her on that one.
Yeah, I would disagree too. Some
Yeah.
cats.
Well, cats
Most
have
many
different
cats.
personalities.
Yes.
Cats have
Yes.
different personalities. There's always going to be a cat, but generally speaking, though,
Mhm.
cats love having their belly rubbed. If as long, but they have to. It is
They
the
have to
ultimate
like you.
trust. They have to. Yeah, you might need to be with your cat for maybe a couple of years even before
Mhm.
they'll
Yep.
feel like where they if they
Oh
lay down
yeah.
if they
Yeah.
lay down on their
Absolutely.
back in front of you like this, that means they probably want you to rub their belly. Maybe
Mhm.
they have an itch.
Yeah.
And so, but the one of the 10 that I got wrong was you should never kiss your cat on the nose
Hmm.
or like play with their nose or like get in their rub their face like that get your face really close. Like you can kiss your cat on the head
Hmm.
and you can even go up like this cheek to cheek with your cat, but don't get right in their nose in their middle of their face too much
Well,
because
if they're looking for a nose boop, they get a nose boop. But
okay, that's where
if they're
I
looking
do
for it,
this
yeah.
when so that's where like it's the one of the 10 where I was like, oh, I do that. I touch their nose all the time, but
Uh-huh.
and I go up to their face all the time, but I just do all I do is do one of these.
Uh-huh.
Boop. And actually, Bella now she goes like I think she actually likes it, you know. And the reason they put behind that is because their sense of smell is so strong that if you get so close and rub yourself under their nose too much, it's almost like too much of a good thing, like
Overwhelming.
ammonia. Like, ooh,
Feel
and they're
right.
like, oh, what the hell, you know?
Right.
The smell is too overwhelming for them. Like, interesting, but I don't
Yeah.
think the boop really hurts that.
Yeah, I had I read a book as so I don't know if I've told you, Jason, but I have written a book. It's called How to Train Your Cat. It was I because I've spent decades driving back and forth between Connecticut and Maine with my cat.
Yeah, right,
Had to teach myself, I had to learn by doing how to train a cat to walk on a leash because I used to let my cats out free range. And Jackson Galaxy, who is a big, he's the big cat behaviorist that's out there and,
hmm
knows, I mean, there's a few other people who are good, like the kitten lady's really good. But he's a big advocate for taking your cat outside and walking him on a leash. Now that show they do not have time to teach you how to walk your cat on a leash or what the hell that looks like. It's just like get your cat
I
on a
still
leash.
think
I'm
it's a
like,
little strange, but that's just me. Go ahead though.
they just do it is disaster. Don't do that. Really, don't do that. So I had to figure out what the procedure was, and I wrote a book about that. And my cats actually, I use clicker training, and Cosmo he'll actually roll over for me. It's like they have to be motivated. It helps if your cats are food motivated. If you're going to train them.
Right,
Will say that this little guy with the asthma, walking with him on a leash is largely about me just keeping track of where he is because he does not walk with me on a leash. The other two will.
right. You will
The other
not.
two
Yeah.
will actually come along with me. It's not like walking a dog.
No.
But yeah, they're so this I was updating it because when the little guy got asthma, I had to train him how to use an inhaler. And this is a cat inhaler.
Oh my goodness, a cat inhaler.
Yeah, yeah, well, it's a spacer because
It's like a lot bigger than a human inhaler for such a small creature.
yeah, yeah. Well,
Oh
the interesting thing about this is a standard nebulizer. He gets albuterol.
wow, holy
Yeah, he
cow.
gets albuterol, and you can turn on the nebulizer and just plug it into the end here. This has a little tiny flapper thing. I'm gonna bring it up to the camera here so you can kind of see it.
Oh
That
wow.
little thing in there that moves when he breathes, so I know that he's getting a breath. And you have to have one specifically for cats
Yeah,
because
because I don't think it would take a
cats,
human one very well.
no, they're small, and so you need something that's much more sensitive than they use for
Yeah.
dogs because they have these for dogs too.
Oh geez.
Yeah.
Good Lord.
So it's called a spacer because they're
You
human spacers too. They make them for humans. This one's specifically for cats.
the other one was where you're not supposed to wake your cat up when they're sleeping either.
Yeah.
They need so much sleep, and you're not supposed to wake them up. So I have to admit, I'm guilty of that one sometimes when I just want to cuddle with them or whatever. But I don't think they get that mad actually. Like
No,
Lenny will
no,
be like,
yeah. Mine,
Lenny
mine are
wakes up for a
different.
second, and he goes right back to sleep on my shoulder. So
Actually, Mika goes
yeah, oh yeah, once in a while
hilarious.
I startle them by accident. Yeah,
Oh no,
and
he touch him. But Cosmo, he's like I'll like grab him and drag him under the blankets with me. So
yeah, and he doesn't
actually
even
what
move.
this cat expert said, she said, "Oh no, they don't think that you're their mother." I'm like, "The heck they don't."
No, they think. Well, I think Bella thinks she's my mother.
Well, that could be that too. I know they think I'm
That
their
video is just saying that. Like the other thing is like
mother.
the cat was when the cat brings our cats hunt. So when they bring us the hunt, and they're basically trying. I thought they were just bringing it as a tribute, as a gift, but apparently studies have shown more recently that no, they're trying to train you how to hunt.
Right, because
They're
that's
like bringing it to you, like here, I can do it, you can do it too, and then
yeah,
they'll bring
that's
them to
what it
you
looks like.
at first they'll bring them to you. That's why if you notice, apparently I didn't notice this myself. They'll bring you dead ones at first,
Right.
and then they bring you ones that are
Live
still
one.
alive because
Yeah.
now
They
you
want
can
you to
kill it
chase.
too. And then if you don't, when you sweep it away, they're like, ah, you're hopeless. You'll never learn. You know, they're like teaching us. You know, and when they lick us and stuff, they need they're establishing ownership. Like I think they think they're our parents more than the other way around. At least mine do. But we just kind of let them hang out. Like I don't think I've ever really trained my cats for anything other than the litter
Most people
boxes.
don't.
We just
I
kind of hang out.
realize that I'm an anomaly. I get that. It's okay. So, but it does enrich them, and it does. it makes them because the little guy's getting acupuncture because my
Hmm.
old vet started an acupuncture practice, and I'm like,
Yeah.
"I'm in." And
Well, you
so
got to travel with your cats too,
I
so
have
I
to
don't have
I
to do
travel. I've
that.
been traveling with my cats for 25.
Bella's only been in a car 2 times in her life. The
Yeah.
first time was when she lost her mother, and the second time was when she lost her twat.
Mm-hmm.
So she don't want to be in no car.
Yeah. Yeah, mine every month, and Cosmo doesn't like it, but Pixel, I can take him. He's the only cat that she does acupuncture on because
Wow.
he's chill, and he's sometimes he's a little like, hmm. Like
You know what's funny? My cats have
he's
been
really, and
so
he does
healthy.
laser on him. He's got I get a picture of the little go with him with the little goggles on because you have to put goggles on if you're doing laser. It's hilarious.
Wow.
Yeah.
Bella's now almost 11 years old, and Lenny is almost 6. And both of them have been so healthy. I've never had the need to felt the need to take either one of them to a vet for
That's
any.
that's good.
They're great, you know. Bella's getting old, a little slower, but she's still, seems fine. So
We should probably stop talking. We probably should have set a timer because we're both kind of cat people and we could be talking about cats for a long time and not what we
yeah, you're right. I think maybe
dog
we should.
people.
It's a good time. I think I'm
I
there. Are you there?
apologize to all the dog people.
Listen, I love dogs. My first pet was a dog
Dogs
named
are
Buck.
awesome. Dogs are
I got
awesome.
it when I was 13. I was out playing in the snow. Me and the kids in the neighborhood having a snowball fight, and everybody went in the house, and there was this dog running around, a little black lab
Mhm.
puppy, beautiful, purebred even,
Wow.
running around the neighborhood.
Hmm.
And we took him in. I break my mother and father, take him in for the night because it was cold. They took him in for the night, and he became our dog. We put the feelers out. Nobody claimed him,
Wow.
and I got a purebred lab to show up in our yard.
Wow.
And I named him Buck after the Call of the Wild by Jack
Okay.
London.
Okay. Nice.
'Cause I was reading that book at the time, and I had him until I was 24 years old. I
Hmm.
moved out of the house, and he made it the home, and I came and spent time with him, and he was great. So I was a dog guy, really.
Hmm.
We had a couple of cats come and go. They seem to come and go here and there, but I was a dog guy, really, until I got these guys. Now I'm a cat guy. I still love
Okay.
dogs. I still want to have
You
a dog.
don't have to be one of the others not required.
No, I'm a dog guy too. I don't feel like it's true that cats are more like your friends and roommates, whereas dogs are more like children. They acquire a lot more attention, a lot more maintenance. It's like having a 3-year-old for your life, and that's why I don't have one right now because I don't feel like I give one enough love and time. But
You're
someday
on
when
the
I'm
road a
older and
lot. Hard.
my goal is to semi-retire by the time I'm in my 60s, and when I do that, definitely gonna have I'm gonna have a dog for sure. But right now, I just feel like I'd be leaving them alone too much, and
Hmm.
I don't feel like the places I go.
Yeah,
I
for
can't even bring
sure.
a
Yeah.
camera into half the places I want to go, let alone a dog. So,
Yeah.
you know, I don't want to. I like to be like BJ and the what was the name of that show? BJ and the Man or something, where he had the dog with him all the time in the car. Like I like that would be fun, but
Mhm.
anyway, are we there?
I think we're there.
Okay. Well, it's been a good show as usual.
Yes.
We got feelers out for some more guests coming up soon. I put the feelers out. I happen to know the guy that does all the videography for Betsy McCoy. He
Oh,
knows Court too. So
cool.
I'm working with him
Yeah.
to try to get Betsy on here.
That would be great. We'd love to have her.
So we'd love to have her. She's my choice for governor right now. So
Yeah. Yep. Again, make no mistake. I will vote for her in the primary, but I will also in the main election, I will vote for whatever the Republican candidate is.
of course, I'm not gonna vote for Lamont. That's for sure. But you know what? What Higby said the other day, if you watch the videos, is true. Believe it or not, Lamont is the last. He is not the most hardcore left guy. He is a left guy. But some of the bills that we keep talking about that are so horrible, he has vetoed over the last couple of years.
Mhm.
He's like the last line of defense. But we gotta get rid of him, just the
Yeah,
same.
because as Republicans, he doesn't really have paying attention
Yeah,
to
I'll
that.
vote for Aaron Store if I have to, but I'm not going to vote for over McCoy.
Oh yeah,
So
well, we're talking the difference between the primary
the
and
primary, yeah.
yeah, and
But,
it's a primary and the full midterm. So
right.
and
All right, then. With that, take us out, Selena.
all right. So God bless America. God bless Connecticut. I hope you guys have a fantastic evening and a wonderful weekend. It's supposed to be real nice. And
Get
come
warm next
on
week.
up Southington. So
Bye, everybody. Yeah, come down to Southern Cadillac Ranch Sunday at 11 o'clock.
all right.
Bye,
Bye
everybody.
guys.